Alrighty, everyone. Good morning to you guys. Appreciate y'all for watching this. It is September 17th here, Tuesday morning. Bringing you guys the latest here on the severe weather threat for today, as well as the major flash flooding, catastrophic flooding that we saw across much of the North Carolina and South Carolina areas yesterday. We saw over 2 feet of rainfall in some areas outside of Wilmington and in Wilmington, North Carolina yesterday with potential tropical cyclone 8. It did make landfall yesterday around the noon to 4 p.m. time frame. Made landfall as a potential tropical storm. Now, what separated this system from being a named storm, which it was supposed to be, become Tropical Storm Helene, that was because the center of circulation was not well defined. We weren't able to get a full tropical system to really get going here. Yes, there was spin with it. Yes, there was characteristics. We had tornadoes. We had stuff like that. But it wasn't enough for the National Hurricane Center to go out there and say, hey, this is a full-on tropical storm. So it did not get that classification. We did not get Helene on the list, so we still have that name to be used as far as the list goes. We're going to talk about the tropics coming up here. We're going to talk about a major windbag event today across the central and high plains, as well as severe weather is going to really start to ramp up here over the next couple of days, and especially into next week, as we're expecting, I think, maybe even a potential for maybe some type of outbreak next week. And we'll talk more about that here in the long run as far as that goes. But I do want to show you guys once again on the screen here. You guys can see those rainfall estimates from yesterday. We had over close to 2 feet of rainfall here along Interstate 140 and Highway 17 from Oak Island, North Carolina to Wilmington. You guys can see some of these rainfall totals here, over 21 inches near the Boiling Spring Lakes area. I mean, if you guys look on Facebook, Instagram, we were kind of showing pictures throughout the weather stream yesterday when we were covering this. I mean, the catastrophic flooding was just insane. This is what we call a 1,000-year or 100-year flood event in this area. And this is why I stress to you guys, even though this was not a hurricane, we still can see tropical systems, tropical depressions, tropical storms. They can outdo hurricane potential because of the fact of either how they're moving, they're trying to organize before they move inland, wherever the situation is, they can cause more rainfall than what a hurricane can do, because typically hurricanes are moving inland. These tropical systems that develop off of these lows, these fronts that come through, they kind of sit around and hang around and they dump buckets of rain for days, and you get what happened yesterday in North Carolina. So I wanted to give you guys just a perspective on what happened there yesterday. My heart goes out to anybody, thoughts and prayers goes out to anybody that was affected by those yesterday, but we've got to transition here because we do have severe weather ongoing today. We do have a small marginal risk for severe weather today. Parts down here into Florida. This is because of a coastal flow or a coastal front that's kind of set up here and draped over Florida. We have the chance to see some wind and some hail, maybe, or really just wind today across Orlando, Cape Canaveral, Palm Bay, Port St. Lucie. So be mindful here, Daytona Beach area. Marginal risk for severe weather, just your general afternoon thunderstorms, a little bit of wind, potentially anywhere up to 60 miles an hour. We could see that wind threat. Now, we have a significant wind event today, possibly for parts of the Central Plains. Now, this severe weather setup for today is a little bit tricky. Things could happen, things couldn't happen. There's a capping inversion as well as a limited amount of dew point moisture content that we need to kind of get these storms going here. The National Weather Service has went ahead and put out that level 3 enhanced risk for small portions of Nebraska, parts of Wyoming and Colorado, or just Nebraska, Colorado, and a portion of northwestern Kansas here in that level 3 enhanced risk. And this is going to be strictly for winds over 75 miles an hour along Interstate 80 and Interstate 76 here. If you are in the Alliance area, Scottsbluff, Sydney, Sterling, this is a chance today, a 30% hatched risk for seeing winds over 75 miles an hour. Now, you're like, where's the tornado risk at for this today? Believe it or not, the tornado risk for today is all the way up here in Montana. There's not a tornado risk south of Montana today. There's a conditional tornado risk. We could see a spin up somewhere, but we're really more focused on that tornado risk. There's just a 2% in place today across much of Montana. This is going to be because that upper level low is further to the north. We have that low level shear that's coming in on the backside of that low. That is where the highest shear volume is for tornadoes today, and that is going to be in Montana. Now, we have a level 1 risk in that green shaded area all the way down here to the New Mexico and Amarillo, Texas area, all the way to parts of Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. A lot of states today in the severe weather risk, level 2 risk in the yellow there from Montana down to the Texas Panhandle, and then that small and orange enhanced risk area for today as well. Now, like I said, today's a wind event. We're really going to be more talking about the wind than we are anything else, but that tornado threat is there today. 2% tornado risk up here near Glasgow, or Highway 2 from Malta, Glasgow, Wolf Point. We'll be watching that for you guys today for that potential for a couple tornadoes in that area. Can't rule out a tornado risk somewhere down here. There's always that conditional risk. There's always a warning that ends up popping up somewhere, so just kind of be mindful of that. The wind risk today is going to be the biggest. We have a 5 in the maroon there, 5% chance of seeing winds over 60 miles an hour, up to 60 miles an hour in that maroon shaded area. Yellow is going to be 15% chance of 60, and then in that hatched yellow and hatched red here, we do have a significant wind event today that could develop along a small portion of the Nebraska and, once again, Kansas and Colorado line here. So be very mindful of that if you're driving in these areas today, especially tonight. I would not be surprised if that enhanced risk kind of shifted out or expanded out a little bit with the next update. We'll have a SPC update at 11 o'clock in the morning here, so just kind of be mindful of that. We'll update you guys with that once we get on the live stream today. And we will be live streaming this event today. Just want to let you guys know that. Live stream will probably start anywhere between noon and 2 o'clock this afternoon Central Time. So do come in, share the live out, and let people know that we will be doing that as well today. As well as comment if you guys have any questions on the video. I meant to mention that at the beginning of the video and I didn't do that. So just, if you guys got questions on anything, comment or send me a personal message and I'll get you guys updated on that. The hail risk for today as well. We are not expected to see significant hail really much of anywhere. If we do see significant hail, it's going to be back up here in the parts of Montana where that wind shear loft is going to be the middle and upper and lower levels. You can see those updrafts be more sustained up here. So in Montana, be expecting 1 to 2 inch diameter hail. Back outside of that there's a 5% chance of 1 inch hail or greater in the maroon shaded areas. Now, this is day one of what we're going to be seeing. I'll get to the actual, what the models are going to be showing here with the forecast for today here in just a second. But tomorrow, we have a pretty skinny marginal risk zone as well. And this goes back down here into Lubbock, Texas, all the way through portions of western Oklahoma, central Kansas, eastern Nebraska, western Iowa, eastern South Dakota, eastern North Dakota, and parts of Minnesota. I do think tomorrow would be the smaller day of the week as of right now, unless some things change as far as tornado potential goes. I do think we'll have a tornado corridor, and it'll probably be anywhere from North Dakota down to Nebraska. Somewhere in this area, we could probably see a 2% tornado risk. Wouldn't be surprised if this got upgraded to slight for tomorrow. We'll kind of talk about that tonight in the stream if that does happen. And on day 3 here, we also have another risk zone. This is what I call kind of a multi-day weather event. Slight risk and marginal risk here for your Thursday into parts of Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Cloud, Rochester, up into Grand Rapids area, Duluth area down here into parts of Des Moines and into Kansas City. So level 1 and level 2 risk for your Thursday. We'll talk more about this once we get closer to this event. That's going to be what's left of this low that's going to be coming through. And then on Thursday and Friday, we don't have a risk yet, but we're going to turn our attention to the West Pacific as we're going to have another strong trough ejection. What we could see is a medium-sized trough come through down towards the Four Corners here, give us some severe weather and possibly some rain down into Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and the parts of New Mexico. We'll talk more about that in the long-term forecast. Now, I want to go back and jump to you guys and show you guys here the overall, what are the models kind of showing for today as far as the overall trend in the future cast. And believe it or not, right now, this severe weather threat is actually going to be ramping up here in the next hour or two into parts of western Colorado. That low is continuing to surge to the east. We'll have a dry line set up with today. If dew points are allowing enough moisture and surface to the mid and upper levels, we will see these storms fire off. You can see this is around 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock this afternoon, already seeing severe storms potentially firing off after lunchtime. So that live stream today might be adjusted depending on what the models do and what actually happens. But we really start to see that significant wind event ramp up around the 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock hour in portions of Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado here. And then that tornado risk could start to ramp up, especially up there with any discrete cells in Montana around the 9 to 11 o'clock hour from what the models are showing here. And then the things kind of start to trend downwards, especially in the overnight hours. Now, we will see a lot of rainfall, possibly some snow in the higher elevations up here into parts of Montana and into parts of the northern Rockies, Colorado, and into, or not Colorado, but into Wyoming and Idaho. That low pressure will continue to swirl, bringing us the chance for more severe weather as we go into tomorrow, where we do have that marginal risk, and you can see those showers and storms from Lubbock all the way through Kansas, Nebraska, potentially firing off those storms, and then maybe seeing an isolated wind hail or maybe a brief spin-up tornado, and then we'll go into the Thursday forecast tomorrow and talk about that. But I wanted to show you guys and give you guys an idea on what we're going to be seeing with the overall trend with that. Now, one other thing we're going to talk about here, and there is a lot of speculation already going around about this, and I've seen it on social media myself. The potential for the tropics, right? We just got done with this tropical system here in the we had Francine and Louisiana, which brought rain all the way up into the deep south, into the Ohio Valley, and then we just had this system yesterday that brought a lot of rain into Wilmington, the European, the CMC. And as well as some of the other models, the GFS as well, are showing a potential for a tropical system next week in the Gulf of Mexico. We're really going to continue to watch this. I'm not going to show too much of it, but I'm going to show you guys kind of the idea. We're going to be watching for something to potentially develop in the Caribbean late next week. And this could go into the Gulf of Mexico with the conditions still being very favorable. You would think with the temperatures in the waters, they're still very warm, even though we've had tropical systems over the last couple of days. It still consists to be very, very warm. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull the models on the European run all the way out until about Monday. And so if we were to get a tropical system that develops next week, it's going to probably develop somewhere down here in the Caribbean and then work its way either into the Gulf, into the Bahama area here. There's still a lot of time to figure this out. We're in that 7 to 10 day range. So if you guys are seeing these model runs of a Cat 4, Cat 5 hurricane, the GFS model run is doing what it typically does, fantasizing and showing excessive model aggressiveness. that's not valid right now. We're not, if you're looking at models past 5 days, really 3 to 5 days out, it's, you take it with a grain of salt. So be mindful what you see on social media here. There's a chance that, like I said, we see something develop in the Gulf. The National Hurricane Center hasn't even shown anything as far as a developing region. So until we get that to pop up, I'm not buying anything with the models right now, but the potential for something in the Gulf of Mexico could develop. And you guys can see this is late next weekend, the last weekend for September, possibly seeing the chance of a low developing in the Gulf of Mexico, and this would signal, you know, tropical development potentially. So we're not done with severe weather or tropic season yet. We've got a lot to watch as far as the overall pattern goes. I want to go ahead and jump to you guys and show you guys that overall pattern here. And this is what's causing that severe weather. You guys can see on the left side of your screen here, this is what's going to be causing that severe weather setup for today in the next 2 to 3 days. This is the leftover low from what our potential tropical cyclone was going to be, which it did not become. It did bring a lot of that rain, but this is what's going to show into tonight. And this is the big thing. Watching a positively tilted trough go to a negatively tilted trough brings in more moisture aloft. I will say something right now. This would be more than likely a full-blown either tornado or severe weather outbreak if it wasn't for this low-pressure system off the coast of the mid-Atlantic. And that is helping actually back and keep higher moisture content from surging north with this negatively tilted trough, because typically when you have these angled troughs like this, they bring in those higher instability values as well as those dew points. But with this low pressure system here, it's kind of hugging all of that moisture to the right instead of to the left, and it's helping create that severe weather setup from being a lesser, bigger deal. Now, no, don't downgrade the threat that we have, the bigger wind threat for today, but just be mindful that it could have been a little bit worse if that setup wouldn't have happened. So continuing to watch that negative tilted trough work its way through today and tomorrow. We're going to have that severe weather risk. I would not be surprised if tomorrow got upgraded to a slight somewhere along that elongated trough ejection. Now, the bigger picture going into the middle half and the later half of this week is watching this positively tilted trough that's going to come off the West Pacific. This is going to swing its way here into the Four Corners. We haven't seen a low dig this deep down into the Four Corners in quite some time. Typically, these signal severe weather, especially into the Four Corners, New Mexico, Texas. We will see that surge potentially of rain somewhere in this area, especially starting into the weekend here. I think we'll have about I think Thursday and Friday, not Thursday, but Friday will be more of a break potentially. And then Saturday and Sunday, we'll get into this here. But you can see potential for multiple areas of severe weather maybe along the Saturday, Sunday time frame here. And especially as we go into the early part of next week, starting to continue to watch the tropics, as well as what's going to happen as we could potentially see a zonal jet stream or another significant trough ejection. And this would signal, one, cooler air coming in from Canada, as well as potential for maybe some severe weather as we go into the later half of next week. So we've got a very, very, very busy and active pattern to get through as far as the overall consensus goes for the rest of September. So I want you guys to be on your heels and your toes as far as having your severe weather plans prepped, having just your knowledge, your tornado prep, your hurricane prep, all of that stuff that you need to know. We are not done with the season yet. We've still got a little bit of time to go here with this. And so, you know, this is the preset model here, just kind of showing where we could see that severe weather out of the next couple days. You can clearly see today and tomorrow and Thursday that severe weather up there in the northern plains and central plains. But as we go into Friday and Saturday, we could see some storms erupt and possibly even some snow over central Colorado here on Sunday. So be very mindful of that. But showers and storms developing along that new system coming in here. Could see some severe weather once again up into the Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, New Mexico, and Colorado area. And then as we go into next week, we'll be watching once again the tropics, as well as potentially some cooler air that could start to invade down out of Canada. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Like I said, we will be live streaming today as far as the overall severe weather risk goes. I'm going to wait for the Storm Prediction Center to do their noon update here, and then I'll kind of discuss with the team and figure out what we're going to do with the stream setup. Do look for a stream today, guys, between 12 and 3 o'clock Central Time this afternoon. It'll be my best time frame to let you guys know with that. But if you live in the Central Plains and the Northern Plains, get ready, have your things tied down, especially in that Kansas, Colorado, and Nebraska area, as we could see winds over 75 miles an hour potentially today, as well as an isolated tornado or two up in the Montana area. But guys, be safe, be weather aware, and I will see you guys in the next video.